Hi, my name is Dan Nelson, and I hope you're going to join me for this free art lesson for kids. Kids of all ages, if you want. I'm going to talk about cartooning and how to draw cartoons. I've been drawing cartoons, honestly, since I was 9 years old. Well, even before that, but I can trace some of my stylistic elements in my cartoons back to when I was 9 years old. So that means I've been doing cartoons for 45 years. I bet that's longer than you've been living. And I've been doing cartoons as a professional for many years, thousands and thousands and thousands of cartoons. And I'd love to convey to you what I think are the key issues about drawing cartoons. Now, some things you're going to love, some things you're going to be surprised by. The first thing I want to talk about is how to hold a pencil. And if I don't miss my guess, I bet you most of you already think, well, I already know how to hold a pencil. I'm going to push on you a little bit because I'm going to ask you to hold a pencil different than you do when you're writing in school or signing your checks. Okay? Here's what I mean by that. Most of us began holding our pencil in first, second, third grade. We were taught to hold it like this, resting on your middle finger and so on. And that's a perfect way to hold your pencil if you're going to be writing, if you're going to be doodling, and if you're going to be writing on a desk. But there are a couple problems with this. If you want to be a good cartoonist, yea, verily, a good artist of any kind whatsoever, then you really need to learn to hold your pencil in a different way. And I'm going to tell you why. Not just that you have to do it, but why you have to do it. And it will feel a little bit awkward at first, but keep with it and you'll get used to it. You'll be a better artist and a better cartoonist instantly. What I'm going to ask you to do is, instead of holding your pencil or your drawing utensil like this, I want you to hold it side saddle, if you will. I want you to hold it right between your index finger and your thumb like this and rest your hand like that. So instead of drawing now with the point of your pencil or your pen, you're going to be drawing a little bit more with the side. Why do I insist that you hold your pencil this way? I'm so glad you asked that question. I want to explain to you now why you do that. You see, when you hold your pencil in the traditional way, a lot of the work is being done with your fingers. See that little finger movement like that? And that's perfectly okay when you're doing details. But if you want to draw and sketch in a free manner, you need to hold your pencil like this. So now, instead of drawing with your fingers, you're drawing with your whole arm. And here's the key thing. The part of your brain that controls your arm is a better cartoonist than the part of your brain that controls your fingers. Did you get that? Repeat after, no, you don't have to repeat after me really. But trust me, the part of your brain that controls your whole arm is a better artist than the part of your brain that controls your fingers. So if you'll simply switch over and start holding your pencil side saddle, I called it, then you will immediately become a better artist. Now let me make sure that I'm clear about one thing. There is a difference between sketching and drawing details. And for drawing details, holding your pencil the old-fashioned, the way you're used to, is perfectly fine. You got that? Details, big drawing, big sketching, big shapes. Make sense? Now, there's one other thing I need to explain. You see me already doing it with my clipboard. By the way, one of the reasons I'm drawing with these state-of-the-art, top-of-the-line artistic tools is I want you to understand, even though I have all the fancy schmancy, expensive, wonderful art tools in my studio, you don't need to go and buy a whole bunch of stuff before you become an artist. Fair enough? Pencil, clipboard, $1.29, I think. And that's all you need to get started. Plain old paper, any kind of paper. Now, I do like, since we're on the subject of materials, I do like the longer, it's called a legal size clipboard, because when you're sitting up at a table or a desk, you can put the bottom of that clipboard on your lap and the top of it leans against the table or the desk, and you've got an almost anatomically correct drawing table. Does that make sense? And why is that important? Two reasons. One is, if you start holding your pencil not this way but this way, it doesn't work if the drawing surface is pointing at the ceiling, like it typically is if you're drawing on a desk at school. Does that make sense? So you want to turn the surface so it points at your nose, and that is also very important, because when you draw on a surface that is not pointing at, as I say, at your nose, When you draw on a surface that's pointing at the ceiling, your brain is having to do a number of very intricate calculations to compensate for that angle. Does that make sense? I know I use some big words there, but I bet you can replay it, rewind it. I'll wait for you. Rewind, rewind. And I'll say it twice. You got it? Okay, we're back. So if you point this at your nose, you'll be able to draw better because you'll see what's really on the paper instead of having to compensate for this angle. Does that make sense? So these two things go together, holding your pencil this way and pointing this at your nose. That way, your hand moves in a very natural manner across the paper. Okay, I know you came here to find out how to cartoon, and you're saying, man, he hasn't even done anything. But patience, patience, we'll get there. In fact, we'll get there right now. You ready to do some cartooning? Let's go.